Hi everyone, I'm Sweet Melba. Thanks for joining me for Sunday on the porch. But I'm not on the porch. It's windy and rainy today, so I had to move inside. So welcome to my indoor porch. So thanks for joining me. So Christmas is just a few days away, and I've been thinking a lot about just some of my favorite Christmas memories, but they're the same ones that always kind of come to mind for me. And I started to wonder about that. Why do these memories always seem to be the ones that come to mind? And so I really kind of have been thinking about that. And there seems to me there's a lot more in these memories than I probably really thought about before. So I thought I'd share a little bit about that today. Favorite Christmas memories and what they, I think, say about us or me or, as you're thinking about that. So I'm looking forward to sharing today just some thoughts about that. One of my Christmas memories that the more I thought about, the more it really had a lot behind it, was one Christmas, there was a toy or something I wanted. I was young. I was, maybe 7, 8, something like that. But there was a toy or something I really wanted. And, I talked about it a lot to my mom and dad. I hope Santa brings me this or Santa brings me that. But it was this one gift. And I remember my dad telling me that, Santa may not be able to afford that. And I've talked a little bit about, growing up that, our family wasn't wealthy. We had enough. But, that was something I heard a lot was, maybe we couldn't afford that or whatnot. But this time it was Santa couldn't afford that. And I think it just really was something different. And so anyway, I must have been a little concerned about Santa and that, maybe I was asking too much or maybe I could help out some way. So I had a piggy bank. It was a Snoopy piggy bank. And anyways, I opened it up and I got what coins were in there. And I taped each individual coin to a piece of white construction paper. And I put a note on there that I was leaving the money for Santa to help him out with buying gifts for people. And I left this, Christmas Eve with the cookies and milk. And I left this piece of paper with the coins taped on it. And the next morning, of course, me and my brother run downstairs, super excited to see what Santa had brought. And we each kind of had our own spaces in the living room where, our things from Santa were. And with my gifts, which I, again, don't remember what they were at that time, there was this same piece of construction paper with all the money still taped on it and a note from Santa to me saying, thank you very much, but you keep the money and use it for something that you would like to get for yourself. And as I recall, the gift that I had wanted, I got, because I don't remember being disappointed about that. But again, I can't remember what the gift was. But anyway, I have never forgotten that story, that experience in doing that. And the note was from my dad. And it was my dad's handwriting. I wish I would have saved that. I didn't. But, I started thinking about that more. And why do I always think of that? And, maybe it's, maybe at that age, 7, 8, where I started thinking that, it wasn't all about me. That there were other things or other people that I could help with. And in this case, it was Santa. Maybe my small amount, maybe, I had a couple bucks at that in my Snoopy piggy bank, could help him somehow. And, maybe that's where those feelings of caring for others and giving what you can, it doesn't have to be a lot, but you can still give something that has meaning to somebody else and help somebody else out. So it, may have been a lesson of, it's not just about me and me getting what I want and using my money for my stuff, right? But how I could contribute and help to something else. So anyways, but I love the story, and I love that my dad wrote the note of being Santa. But again, I wish I would have kept it. Another Christmas memory that I have was when I was about, I'm going to say probably around 11, 12 maybe. And the hot Christmas item then, and this would have been in the 80s, was roller skate tennis shoes. So they would look like tennis shoes, but they had roller skates on the bottom, metal or kind of that rubber type thing. But those were the hot thing. And if that was a gift that you got or wanted, I'd love to hear it in the comments. But I really wanted that. And my best friend who lived next door, she wanted them too. And she's about 6 months older than me, 7 months older than me. And anyway, so Christmas morning, we would always, call each other or go because we live right next door, go over to each other's house to see what we got. Well, she got the tennis shoe skates, and she was super excited about it. And I was not. I didn't get the tennis shoe skates. And I was really jealous. I was like, well, that's not fair that she got them and I didn't get them. Why is that? And I just remember being like, all right, I don't want to hear about it. So what? You got the skates, right? Bratty kid. So what? You got the skates. So anyways, I went home. And I was just kind of a brat the rest of the day, as I recall. But she went out. We lived on a cul-de-sac street, and we were at the end of the cul-de-sac. And she went out, and she was skating around just like I would have done if I had gotten the skates. But I was upset. Why did she get them and I didn't? So I was not being a very good friend through this whole thing. But here she is out skating around, enjoying her new skates. But I thought it was a bad thing, and I was all upset about it and whatnot. So it just was like it ruined my whole day. And I was a brat to everybody. I was a brat to her. I was not being very nice. I was a brat to my parents and my grandparents. My grandpa was there, my aunt and uncle. And anyway, I was not a good kid because I was upset I didn't get what I wanted, and I was super jealous. So I've mentioned before, I think in one of my other videos, that our Christmas was separated. My grandpa and aunt and uncle came on Christmas Eve, and they left in the morning. And then my grandma and great-grandma came around lunchtime. So in this story, that's what happened. Grandma and my great-grandma came, and we had lunch. My mom, cooked the leftovers from Christmas Eve, and we had lunch. It was nice lunch. So then I would get to open my presents from my grandma and my great-grandma. Well, I got the tennis shoe skates. I got them from my grandma. And I was, wow, I got them. But what I remember about all of that is how much of a brat I was. How mean I was to my friend, my best friend. She was super excited that she got those skates. And I just thought she was trying to show off. And I was not a good friend. And that's what I remember about that whole experience, memory, right? That it was just not, I was not good. And I was mean to my friend. And I couldn't appreciate how excited she was for what she got. So when I think of that story, that's what I think of. I think, when I learned that being jealous doesn't make you feel good. There's no good in being jealous, and learning to be happy for something somebody else has because it's what they want. And you should celebrate that. And, I was a kid, so you got to learn those lessons, right? And I think that's where I learned that from, was that experience in not being a good friend and being more worried about myself than her excitement and enjoyment for something that she got. So another great memory, I think. And one final memory that has really stayed with me is growing up. A special treat that we would have just for Christmas was a bowl of nuts. So these were the nuts in their shells, and you could go to the store and get, a scoop and put them in a bag and bring those home. But that's when we got those. We got that at Christmas, and we had a bowl on our coffee room table with one of the metal nutcrackers. And I just remember cracking nuts at Christmas time, sitting there with my dad. Some are harder than others. Some I'd have to have him crack for me. But it was just a quiet time. It was a time that he would share stories, and that I think it was a tradition of having those nuts at Christmas time that he had as a child. And they grew up in a very country lifestyle, very, very limited money. So that was a real treat for them. And so I think that's why it became a tradition for us growing up, that he wanted to continue to do that at Christmas time. But it was just a nice time. I remember him telling me stories about him having Christmas and some of the things that he got for Christmas, which, for him might have been a new pair of shoes or a new pair of pants, something like that, very simple. But it was always a memory that I look back on. It was a great time to sit and just visit with my dad and hear stories. That just a simple activity, right? So fast forward probably 20 years. When I moved back to Alabama to go to graduate school, my aunt and uncles lived very nearby. We lived on family property. And I remember going up. I was there for Christmas. And I remember going up to my aunt and uncle's house. And we were just watching TV. And my uncle, who's my dad's brother, younger brother, he's a twin. Not my dad is not a twin, but my uncle. I have two uncles that are twins. And anyway, he said, you know what? Let's make some nuts. So he just had plain old shell peanuts, right? But we roasted them. They were raw. We roasted them in the oven, and they were the best thing. I loved them. But it was just me and him sitting on the couch watching TV, him telling stories and eating nuts. So the story kind of has a continuation, right? So just both of those are just great memories for me. And I really look back on those, especially with my uncle, who has passed away. He passed away, it's probably been about 6 years ago now. But when I think of him, that's one of the first memories I think of, was sitting on the couch on a cold winter in northern Alabama, eating roasted peanuts and just sharing stories. So I loved it. And I still do peanuts at Christmas. You might too. But it's a really calm, simple activity that really has a lot of meaning for me. And from that, again, it's that simpleness, that it was just being together, enjoying each other's company, eating peanuts, a simple treat with so much meaning, and that was the important thing, was just the time together. And I think that's why that memory comes back for me so much, is how much I really value that. So when I look back at these memories, the ones that just keep coming back, why do they keep coming back? Why do they stay with me? Why do memories stay with us? And for these, I think it's the values that I come to appreciate from these, that's why they keep coming back for me, that they continue to be important things in my life that I value. The appreciation for time spent with family and friends, quiet, simple times, learning to be happy for others and recognize that what they have in their life and what they receive isn't a reflection negatively on you. You should appreciate what others have and appreciate what you have. And those are important values for me that I really continue to hold on to. And trying to help others, whether that's a little or a lot. Trying to help Santa out, but trying to help others in my community as I can, contribute what I can when I can. So maybe those are why these keep coming back for me, that they're important parts of my life and kind of who I became, what it says about me and what my values are and what's important to me. So maybe you have memories too that come back to you at Christmas time, some of those favorite Christmas memories. Why do you think they come back for you? Why are they important for you? What do they say about you? And what do our memories say about us? And those are important. And I think if we give it a little time, we all might learn a little bit more and maybe understand why these still continue to be an important part of our holiday memories and time. So I hope that my memories that I've shared today have been helpful for you to maybe think about some of yours and why they're important to you. And if you'd like to share in the comments, I'd love to hear more about it because I think we all kind of learn from those when, again, we give it a little time to think about it and reminds us of what's important in our life and maybe why they're important. So thanks for joining me today on my inside porch with the weather. It may be that time. It's the first of winter, right? Sunday, December 21st. So first day of winter. So anyways, thanks for joining me today. And I hope that you have some great Christmas memories that you can sit with for a little bit and maybe think about why they're important in your life and what you may have learned from those and what they say about you and what you appreciate and see as important in your life. So thanks for joining me. I'll see you next Sunday. I don't know if I'll be on the porch. We'll see. Depends on the weather. So in the meantime, I'll see you then. And, of course, a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everybody. I won't be back until after Christmas. So I hope you all have a wonderful time. Thanks for joining me. If you've subscribed to the channel, thanks for subscribing, and I look forward to chatting again. All right, bye-bye. I'm Sweet Melba.